Some people say, Denta, when I come to Ghana, what business can I do? I mean, how do I find employers? How do I build a luxury brand? Well, I have found one person, a man who is an entrepreneur, a young person in fact, who says, Denta, I started out selling watches outside on the streets, and today he has the biggest watch brand called Caveman. I'm going to be speaking to him about his journey, why he has persevered, and why he has the biggest luxury brand in Ghana.
Now, I was curious enough, wondering why there were so many watch brands in the world, but they were all imported, none from Africa. I tried other businesses that failed very well, and then one day I just wanted to buy a watch for the first time in my life. I never liked watches, you know. I would go and sell a watch to somebody, then they would pull a chair and sit me down and start questioning me. Young man, why are you selling watches? Why don't you go and look for a job?
So the people that you were trying to sell the watches to were advising you to stop
and
selling watches.
And go and get a job.
Listen, let me tell you about this guy. This guy has made a watch with bees. This is what he did for Beyonce. He's made one for Jeremiah, the NFL player, big artist, big sports personality, just so many influential people.
Hello, my name is Anthony Dzamefe. I'm the founder and CEO of Caveman Watches. Welcome to the cave.
Caveman!
Welcome!
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I know that I was supposed to be here a long time ago, but this...
What do you think?
It's beautiful.
Welcome to the new cave.
Wow.
This is our story wall.
Okay.
Showing what we do here, watchmaking, customized watches. This is a picture I took around 2018 when I was experimenting watchmaking. Okay. So it's a very dear picture to me because it reminds me of when I started the whole dream. Wow. And it's just an example for people to
all the
see,
pieces of...
Yeah, what goes into it.
Wow, it's a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to read that to me?
So a friend wrote this poem for us.
Okay.
And it kind of like tells the brand story. Cheers to the story of Cog and Wheel, a ballad sung by work of steel. Here is to the echo of men of old, heard in each tick and talk of gold. Yeah. Cheers to the hands of impeccable craft that grace the face of such work of art. And here's to the spirit of the wild and brave that gift us this peace that the ages crave. Caveman be remembered. And I took this picture in 2018. And this box is when I had my ideas. So it's like a treasure box for me, full of ideas and dreams and the vision. And so all these are real life pictures, just randomly taken, but they tell so much about the brand.
I love it. I love it. You know, when we talk about impeccable craft, a lot of people in the diaspora, right, feel as if they can't come and set up a business here, or how to run a business here.
Yeah.
What would you say to that? Because you have built an impeccable brand, and you started off in the streets, right? Tell us a little bit about that journey, and then how you think your brand became that impeccable.
Yeah, I think it starts with the belief, first of all, the curiosity, the belief that it can be done right from here. I feel like people do not believe strongly enough that we can create global standard products from here. So
in Africa.
It has to start with the belief, first of all. So I think I had that. And I was curious enough, wondering why there were so many watch brands in the world, but they were all imported, none from Africa. And I had a problem with that. So my curiosity led me to the next step of, venturing.
Right.
And it's been a crazy journey, but I think we're still in the beginning. It's too early to...
you've made an impact.
I have, yes, I think, but I think it's just...
The beginning.
The beginning, keeping my mind on the bigger picture and knowing that there's more to be done. It's been great. I think 5 years of this Caveman brand. We've done a lot in 5 years, but there's still more to be done.
Tell us about when you started. So the journey of Caveman to what it is today.
So it started from the joblessness when I used to work for a hotel and I didn't feel fulfilled enough. I believed I was capable of more than being at the airport holding a placard as a human signage of some sort, picking up guests. I always believed that I was very multi-talented, capable of so much. So I used to question myself, how do I have so much talent and I'm here holding a placard? You know, so I craved
So
for the
you're
next...
picking people from the airport?
From the airport, for the hotel.
Okay.
Making, how much was that? 500 cedis at the time.
Wow.
In Dallas was about like
$50?
About $50 or less than that. You know, so I didn't feel fulfilled. I believed I was capable of more.
So did you finish uni? Did you finish college? How was your education?
I was still in the uni when I was working at the airport.
Okay.
I was in a weekend school, so I would go to school on the weekends and work the 9 to 5 in the weekdays.
What were you studying?
I was studying business management.
Okay.
It was weird. For somebody who did science in secondary school, physics and chemistry and biology, and then I switched to read business in uni.
Wow.
Yeah, but I just felt that there was more that could be done. Then I just resigned. I didn't have a plan, but I just realized that I had a lot of talent, but I didn't have time to pursue or make anything out of my talent. So I realized and I believed that all I needed was to have time on my hands. No pun intended.
No, I hear that.
Yeah, I needed time on my hands, and I believed I would find something to do with my talent. So I took the bold step and I resigned from my job.
Wow.
That was it.
So how did the watch come about, the time?
Yeah. So when I resigned, I just stayed home. I was trying my hands on anything I could to make some living.
Like examples?
I used to sell all these suit jackets. I would
Okay.
go to the local market and buy them for cheap, try and refurbish them, iron them, put them in a nice bag and sell them for some profit.
False. So
Yeah,
what we
false.
call false.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I was doing that, just selling
Second-hand goods.
Yeah, suits and making a little money every now and then to survive, but it wasn't really cutting it. I tried other businesses that failed very well. And then one day I just wanted to buy a watch for the first time in my life. I never liked watches, you know. I never liked watches, so I just wanted to buy a watch. Went into a shop, I had 50 cedis. It's about $5. And the watch was, I think, almost 200 cedis. So I thought, why are watches so expensive, you know?
Yeah.
I left and found a watch on social media for $5. Then I bought the watch, took a picture of it, posted it on my social media, and then somebody just showed interest and came to buy it.
Wow.
For me, that was like a light bulb moment. I was like, wait, I can make business out of this. So
Yeah.
I called a guy back and I bought 2 more watches, sold the 2, bought 3, sold 3.
Wow.
That was technically it. I was selling watches in the street, car parks, people's offices, in traffic, just to survive. So at the time, I didn't have any plan to make my own watches. I was just selling watches for a living. But I'm a curious guy, so I started getting curious about watches in general, what makes them work.
Right.
They were so fascinating to me. You know, I started breaking them apart to learn how they were made. Then the question came into my mind of, wait, how come all these watches are imported? Where are the African brands? Of all the creative Africans that we have, how come nobody has attempted it? And that's how I am. And I'm curious, I want to find the answers. So that's how the idea came about.
But how were you able, because you've never built watches before,
Yeah,
so
never
how
built
did
watches.
that come about? How did you learn that?
Yeah, so the curiosity led me to breaking watches down.
Okay.
So I'm reverse engineering watches, knowing what they're made of, how they work. So I was doing that for a long time, and then I also approached the roadside watch repairers, apprenticed for them, and I was repairing watches, just learning how to do that. So it was that. Then I moved to the local market to learn leather crafts.
Okay.
When I realized people had good watches, but just bad leather straps.
Right.
So I had to go and learn how to make leather straps. I take the imported leather straps and break them down, learning what they are made out of and looking for the same components in the local market. That's how I put my little leather strap production unit together in my room and started making straps. So it's a bit of everything coming together. Learning watch repairs, reverse engineering, learning how to make watch leather straps, and then putting everything together bit by bit.
Didn't you face any challenges starting up the business? What did you face? What was the most challenging moment for you?
You know, funny enough, apart from the lack of support, financial support being like the major challenge here, I think the challenge that I didn't see coming was the pressure from people.
Okay.
That's a challenge that kind of shocked me, because I would go and sell a watch to somebody, then they would pull a chair and sit me down and start questioning me. Young man, why are you selling watches? Why don't you go and look for a job? Why are you doing this?
Oh,
You need to stop this. Go and look for a job. You can't be doing this.
So people were trying to discourage you from
A
doing
lot
it.
of people. That was the challenge I didn't see coming, because it was like anytime I went to sell a watch, I was like, oh, here we go again. I'm going to get this talk again. Everybody was just advising me to stop and go and get a job. Go and get a job. Why don't you stop doing this?
So the people that you were trying to sell the watches to were advising you to stop
Yeah, and go
selling watches
and go and get a job.
and go and get a job. So
I
they
know.
didn't see that as a job.
Yeah.
Wow.
So everybody was surprised when I told them that that was solely what I was doing. Because people were kind of expecting it to be like a side hustle. So they would be like,
Not like a main.
yeah, I know you're selling watches, but what do you do? And I'm like, hey, I sell watches.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I do. I'm a very all or nothing guy. I don't like doing things halfway. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it, you know. So that was a challenge I didn't see coming, and it was very hard to deal with. Like everybody just, they wouldn't let me be.
Wow.
But at a point, even my mom, you know, my mom was like, why are you doing this?
Crazy?
Yeah, are you crazy? Like, why don't you get a job, you know? And I told my mom that, hey, let's make a deal. I have a very clear picture of what I want to do. Maybe you don't get it, but I'll show you. So give me a year, just a year. So after a year, we can have this conversation again. If my plan didn't work out, then I'll get a job.
Okay.
If my plan worked out, then we're good. So I had a pact with my mom for a year. When she agreed, I felt like, okay, tick tock, time is counting down. I rolled my sleeves and I went in very hard.
Wow.
So after a year, my mom was like, okay, now I get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how about the branding? Like how, you know, just even like the cave, the sea,
Yeah.
and even the name
The
Caveman.
name. The name Caveman. The name Caveman came about for two reasons.
Okay.
When I started learning watch repairs and, you know, reverse engineering, I became extra introverted. I could stay indoors for 2 weeks and not even step out, just practicing. Then my friends would call me and they'd be like, hey, you're always in your cave. Hey, come out smaller. Hey, caveman. I was like, okay. They were calling me caveman like just a nickname. But the real reason I should say was that while I was doing this, I always watched all this Discovery Channel stuff, and I'm watching how the prehistoric people built things like the pyramids, things that even now with our technology we can't comprehend. So I was like, wait, these people are way smarter than we even are now with all the technology we have. And the things they built from that era, they happen to be things that are durable even till now. So I was thinking about building a watch brand that will be generational, that can be passed down to your grandkids, kids and grandkids, and it would have the elements of that pure handcraft, like how the cavemen built everything with undiluted originality and quality. So that's what we doing with the brand. We want to create wristwatches that would be passed down generations, like how the cavemen built things with their hands.
And I see that when you, with your brand, the boxes, right?
Yeah.
It's something that you do not want to throw away. Like you can't. Was that all part of the initiative, like to kind of have those kind of boxes?
Yeah. You know, I went very hard on the packaging because, you know, the presentation really counts. And knowing where we are coming from, I knew that I had more work to do. Anybody else anywhere in the world making watches could have it way more easier than me. But when you say you're making watches in Ghana or in Africa, you know, people don't believe it. So I knew I had more work to do to make a point. So when everybody is spending X amount on packaging, I will spend 5 times that to create the impression. Because I did my experiment. There was one funny experiment I did when I was selling other imported watches. One lady called me and wanted to buy a watch for the husband. I picked about 7 very popular global brands, and I added a Caveman watch to it. I hadn't launched the Caveman brand, so nobody knew it.
Okay.
I just mixed it up in there, and I met the lady. I put all the watches in front of her. She went through, and then she stopped at the Caveman. She was like, oh, nice watch. I've not heard of this brand before, but really nice watch. Then I told her, yeah, it's a new brand about to come to the market. She picked the watch, she loved it, and she paid for the watch.
Wow.
After paying for the watch, then I now told her that it was my brand, made here in Ghana. Then she goes like, wow, that's so impressive, nice watch. But can I see the other ones again?
Oh.
Yep, and then she changed her mind.
Wow.
So
because she thought it was made in Africa, made in Ghana?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did all these experiments to know that
the mindset.
we have a mindset problem here, and I knew I had more work to do. That's why I go very hard on the packaging and the branding that
Why do you think we have this perception that, you know, things that come from outside is better than what is homegrown and what is made in Ghana?
Well, I think from the years that have passed, we got used to not being self-sustainable. We're always importing things. But I love to point fingers at myself or ourselves. I think that we have a lot of work to do. We, the producers or manufacturers in Africa, we need to pay more attention to our finishing, our detailing. So as much as we want to blame people for not believing in us, we need to do the first work, the most important work, by paying attention to the quality.
Okay.
You know, I don't think I want people to purchase my watches just because I'm Ghanaian or I'm black. I want them to purchase the watch because it would give them value for their money.
Right.
You know, and I've realized that a lot of business people in Ghana actually do cut corners.
Yeah.
You know, they do cut corners in terms of the quality, the finishing. So let's do the work ourselves first, then we can now have a case and seek for the support.
But do you think that is because the West have really positioned themselves as the best? So anything that comes from there is the best, and they have like kind of infused that to people in the country, on the continent?
I think because they have a better system out there
Okay.
that supports what they're doing.
Right.
When you have a production unit and you have the right machinery required, of course your finishing would be top-notch. But here in Ghana, people don't have any financial support, they don't have the right equipment, the right machines, so they're just doing the most what they can, you know, and the finishing would not come out to be compared to the global brands.
Right.
So the system helps them out there more. Things are easier for them, they are able to afford, you know.
Right.
So the system is one of the big reasons why. I find people here in Ghana with a lot of great ideas, but they don't have the right tools, the right machines, there's no funding, there's no investor, the government doesn't care about anything. So I think that's the biggest problem.
On the flip side, there's been individuals that have invested in companies on the continent and the money has been swindled.
Yeah.
So how do we get the balance right?
Well, I think that's the general risk when it comes to investment. I don't think it's only a Ghana issue or African issue. I think generally, with investments, there's risk attached, but it can be curbed when you do the right investigation, due diligence about the company. And I do believe that most business people invest in cash flow. You know, when you have a good record of cash flow. As an investor, I think I will focus on cash flow more than just an idea. So I understand why when we start a business from the beginning, nobody wants to invest. I think it's fine. Yeah. Because an investor needs that guarantee, seeing cash flow, seeing consistency and growth.
Right.
So it's easier to invest into a company that has a track record of good cash flow and progressive growth. Yeah. So I think that helps. But I don't think it's a Ghanaian problem. It's general. Investments everywhere comes with a risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And is investment something that you are looking for to expand in your business?
Yes, we definitely are looking for the right partnerships. We've been growing at a very healthy pace. I personally do not want to rush the growth because what is more important to me than just blowing out is focusing on production, the standardization, the quality, the consistency to be able to meet the global demand. It's what I've been focusing on. We've been building structures for the last 5 years. And we've built such a great structure now that we have proper standardization in production, quality control checks.
Fantastic.
These things are more crucial to me than rushing into a premature expansion. So yes, we do need partnership at the right time, the right caliber of partnership. So yes, we need to expand, definitely.
Okay. And are you looking to expand like globally, like to have your, because to be honest, I can compare your watches to Rolex or even better, to be honest. How do you see it yourself? How do you see it? And what have people said to you actually?
You know, before I started, I was repairing Rolex watches. I was repairing all the big brands, reverse engineering them and knowing what they are made of. And I realized that most of them were not even made with climate conditions in mind as Africans. I mean, so I knew what was out there in the global market, the standard, and I knew how to make it a little better, especially with the mind of doing it for our people, I should say. So the standard of the quality, it can be compared to any brand in the world. Even though we are new and we are improving, we are constantly improving on production methods and machinery. So yes, I would always say the quality of the watch is an 11 out of 10.
Hey.
And it will keep getting better.
I love that. And then you have so many different designs. So I have 4 Caveman watches, and this is like one of the last 2 that I have, right? And it's got my name on it, Denta Amarting MBE. The first time I met you, you gave me, I think I've had 2 when you came to my house in
that was a long time ago.
That's a very long time ago. And then now you can have like African maps, like my recent one has got African map, it's got my name. I see others that have like people's signature on there. How are you able to make all of these?
I think it gives me that fulfillment. I'm kind of like flexing my creativity.
You're flexing. This guy is flexing. Listen, let me tell you about this guy. This guy has made a watch with bees. Like, this is what he did for Beyonce. He's made one for Jeremiah, the NFL player, like big artists, big sports personality, people in the entertainment industry, Don Jazzy, you've got like just so many influential people that you are giving, you know, they're buying and that you're giving out to these people.
I had this creativity that always got me into trouble growing up because I was always venturing, trying things. Very inquisitive, and I would fall in trouble every now and then. This is the first time I found myself in a space where it's like, it's the perfect timing. And I'd been that craftsman my whole life and didn't know what to do with it, but I think I'm flexing my creativity now. I'm able to think about ideas and get into production and make them happen. That gives me a lot of fulfillment.
So let's talk about the Beyonce watch that you gave to Beyonce's dad to give to Beyonce. Let's talk about that watch and how it was made and how long it took and what you had to do to make that watch.
That was one of the most interesting projects we worked on. I thank my production team so much. They would stay till midnight. We worked on this watch for so long. And the fulfillment they got when they saw the finished product, it was great. So I think there was a program, Beyonce's dad was attending a program in Ghana, and then the organizers of the program, they got me to make a watch for Beyonce's dad and one for Beyonce. So that's how the whole thing came about. And so I was thinking, wait, making a watch for the Queen Bee, what do I do? So I know they have a thing with the number 4.
Okay.
Jay-Z, Beyonce, 4, they have a thing with the number 4. So I thought, okay, she's called a Queen Bee. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to collect bee wings, 444 bee wings. And that took us about 2 months. We were going from beekeepers, beehives, and then they would wait for the bees to sleep or whatever, and then we go looking for falling bee wings. You know, so I took it that we were giving new life to the fallen wings.
Wow.
So we used the falling bee wings, 444 pieces, to make the dial of the watch. We took a honeycomb and I carved the watch case like a honeycomb, just to embody, you know, the beehive concept into the watch. And she was blown away when she got it. You know, she was blown away. That's how the Beyonce idea came. So that's the creativity that I find very fulfilling. Just thinking about what should be done and making it happen. I just feel very fulfilled.
Yeah. And what about Jeremiah? How did that come about? I mean, he's a huge NFL player, plays for Cleveland Brown. How did that come about? And, you know, why do you think the partnership was important to you?
It was really important because, I mean, Jeremiah is a guy who is embodying African culture on such a huge global stage. So it was right in line with what Caveman stands for. We are putting Ghana on the map in that regard in terms of fashion and watchmaking. So I felt it was a great combination of such, I mean, two brands on the same journey. So having to work with Jeremiah was one of the most exciting things we've done. And, you know, the whole production team was surprised how, you know, how intelligent, not surprised, we were just happy to work with somebody that was so easy to work with, so creative, it was so easy, he bringing ideas, joining the design team. You know, he picked all these Edinkra symbols that resonated the most with him. We made the watch with those symbols. It was very fun. He's very creative, and then having to work with such a creative person, it made the work very much easier for me, and it was exciting. The way his watch came out was
beautiful.
Great. Yeah,
absolutely beautiful. How was it like doing business in Ghana?
Whoosh. The most difficult part about business in Ghana, I don't want to talk about the government and the systems. That is there, it's a given. The most difficult part is learning how to work with Ghanaians. Learning the mindset, the culture, the behavior of Ghanaians, and knowing how to adjust yourself to make the most out of it. That has been very challenging. I think my industry is also a very perfection-oriented industry. We worship perfection in watchmaking. So finding Ghanaians who worship perfection is a very hard thing to do. They might think you're too difficult because you want everything done in a certain way. Majority of Ghanaians are very okay with average or mediocre. And for me, it doesn't have room here. So I'm very hard on the workers because that's what it requires. Pressure and consistency to get perfection.
I think you've done really well for yourself at this young 5 years old of a brand. So many people are talking about Caveman. I know that this is just the beginning, right? And there's so much more to come. What would you say to people in the diaspora who are, you know, some of them have the resources to come back and set something up. Some of them don't. Some of them just have their skill and some ideas. What would your advice be to them?
I think doing your due diligence, knowing the right companies to partner with, which is the reason why I love what you've been doing, connecting the diaspora with the right businesses in Ghana, because I know what you look out for. If the business is not of a certain standard, I don't think you would affiliate with it. That's what I believe strongly. So anything that comes from your recommendations, I kind of go with it. So we need to just fish out the right companies that are on the right path, doing the right things with bookkeeping, accounting, the transparency. Because like I was saying, before we ask for help, we have to help ourselves, do the right things so that you are investment ready. And so it's easier for investors. So that's what I think diasporans should do. They should look out for the right businesses, do the due diligence, look out for the right documentation and structures from this business before taking the next step. Because there are a lot of businesses are in Ghana that are doing great, but they need structure, they need investments. We have all the resources here. We have the creativity here, the craftsmanship here. we just need the collaborations and the support.
Absolutely. So in terms of like Caveman, how many watches are you selling a month? Like how is business?
Well, I think for a 5-year-old brand, we're doing great in terms of averaging sometimes 700. We've gone up to 900 watches a month.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
even just on a small scale, I
Yeah,
should say, because we are about 90% Ghanaian based. Only about 10% of our customers are from the diaspora. And we have a partnership with DHL for shipments.
Right.
So we are now intending to set up actual presence or shops in this country. So that's our plan for the next 5 years, the international phase.
Okay, fantastic.
So yeah, I think for a new brand like ours, doing numbers like 900 watches a month, I think it's good for a start.
Do you have the capacity to do more? So if somebody invested right now with $1 million, would you be able to turn over the types of watches?
Thankfully, we have the craftsmanship, we
Okay.
have the blueprint of production,
Okay.
and it's working. The numbers are good. It just needs to be scaled up.
Okay.
So we already have everything. The scaling up is the only thing to do.
Okay.
So we definitely can meet any kind of demand.
Okay.
Even now, our problem is a good one, which is that we have more demand than products.
Wow.
Yeah, so the demand is readily there.
Okay.
We're constantly investing in machinery to
be able to produce more.
Produce more. It's just been a bit slow because it's been bootstrapping.
Okay, okay.
But yeah,
okay.
I think it's a good procedure to grow very steadily,
Okay.
not in a rush. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So let's take a look at some of the watches.
Sure, let's do.
Okay.
Let's see what we have. Let's take a look at this.
Okay.
These are some of our customized pieces.
Wow.
You see this with the signature.
Yeah.
So the customers can get to sign their signature on the watch.
Love that.
This is what I love about what we're doing is the fact that you get to personalize your watches.
I love it.
People just buy watches off the shelf and it has no contribution to their personality or anything. So here you get to customize your own watches.
No, I love this.
Yeah, we're making use of the kente patterns,
Oh, this is
the
nice.
traditional patterns for the dials.
Wow.
Oh, and there's this very interesting one here. This is made out of
Money?
1927 one cedi notes.
What? Oh my goodness.
So I used an actual one cedi note from the antique collectors. We get all these old notes that we make watches out of.
That is beautiful.
So it's an actual banknote.
Are you getting
That's
this? This is
preserving our history. And then we have the Caveman Patriot having the Ghana coat of arms on the dial. Talk about wearing your hat on your sleeve.
fantastic.
And then the very controversial one.
And one of the most popular ones.
The most popular ones, the Caveman Erotica.
Okay.
I mean, erotica watches are a thing that have been there. I mean,
Okay.
we're not the first to do erotica watches. They are very good conversation starting watches with all that is going on.
Yes.
You can always
I
say
can
that it's
see
always
that.
the perfect time with this watch.
Okay.
This is a gold watch
Ooh.
with
Ah.
customized symbols.
No, this is not fair. I'm returning my watch.
With customized
This is
symbols.
gorgeous. I didn't cross symbols.
Yes, so the customers get to choose their own symbols. I think we all have our favorites among the Edincra
Yes,
symbols, so you get to choose the ones that mean the most to you.
Oh,
And then
that
we,
is beautiful.
yeah.
So is this the packaging
This is
that
the
people?
packaging.
Okay.
This is the package, one of our
One of the
boxes,
packages. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
We have different types of packaging.
Different color straps, so you can say, okay, I want this, but I want a red strap, I want a
Exactly.
black strap.
Yeah.
And then you take
So that's
it
the
from there.
beauty of it. We want people to be able to customize their watches with, I mean, the colors, the kind of leather they want. If you want to have an inscription in the watch or write your name in there, you can shift anything you want to shift around. I want you to wear a watch that you have a contribution in terms of the design with, yes.
Right.
So, and that's not done anywhere. You can walk into any watch shop in the world, pick a watch and begin
design
to
it.
change
Okay.
the components.
Okay.
It's very difficult to achieve that. And like I said, we need to do more work to make a statement. So we are ready to do the extra work, and we've been doing it.
Yes, we're very proud of Caveman, and I'm encouraging you all in the diaspora that you can come home and make it in Ghana and on the continent. It's important for us, as I keep saying, and I will keep on saying it, to come back home and do something. Whether it's investing in a caveman, whether it's building your own brand, we can make it as Africans. We have the right visions, we have the right entrepreneurial spirit. We have been entrepreneurs since day one, I would say. It's born within us. And so it's time for us to build as a nation, build as people, and build each other up. Let's celebrate success. Let's push each other up when we need to, and let's come home and do something. Let's make an impact. Because trust me, when you make an impact on the continent, you are impacting on just not one life, but thousands of lives. So come back home. It's time to do that.